Welcome to the Urban Highlights podcast. We're glad to have you back. Today we have another fascinating city for you, filled with plenty of facts and curious stories. Now, setting aside the prescribed introduction, let's establish our mission for this deep dive. We've looked through a lot of material on Rio de Janeiro, and the big theme that keeps jumping out is contrast.
Definitely. It's everywhere you look.
Yeah. So our goal today is to get past those, postcard images. We want to really understand the history, the culture, the economic stuff, all the paradoxes that make Rio so compelling.
Right. It's a city of extremes in many ways.
Exactly. We're unpacking Rio, this city sort of physically defined by its mountains, always juggling its imperial history with this vibrant, informal musical present.
It's quite a mix.
So location first. Let's unpack that name, Rio de Janeiro. It literally means January River.
Which is funny because it's not actually a river, is it?
No, it's this fantastic bit of history. Portuguese explorers arrived on January 1st, 1502, saw the huge Guanabara Bay entrance, and just assumed it was a massive river mouth.
A pretty understandable mistake, given the scale, I suppose. That bay is enormous.
It really is. And that geography, it's just fundamental to understanding Rio.
Absolutely. It sits right there on Brazil's southeastern coast, and it's beautifully nestled, between the Atlantic Ocean and these incredibly steep, lush green mountains.
It makes for dramatic scenery.
Totally. Now, size-wise,
Yeah.
it's important to get a handle on this. It's not actually Brazil's biggest city by area. It covers about 1,200 square kilometers.
Okay.
But it's incredibly dense. You've got about 6.7 million people living right in the city proper.
And the metro area is even bigger.
Oh yeah, way bigger. Over 12 million people in the whole metropolitan region. It's vast.
And that population, it's not spread out evenly, is it? The landscape kind of forces divisions.
That's a great way to put it. The topography segments the city. You've got the famous tourist zones like Copacabana and Ipanema right on the coast.
Right, the beaches everyone knows.
Then you've got the historic colonial center, sort of inland a bit. But climbing up those steep hillsides, that's where you find the favelas.
The poorer communities, often built informally.
Exactly. And they are just an inseparable part of Rio's identity. This physical split between the formal city and the informal hillside communities.
Yeah.
That's maybe the core paradox of Rio.
Let's shift gears to history then. The city itself, officially founded in 1565 by the Portuguese.
And it didn't take long for it to become super important. It was a key port for, well, everything coming out of Brazil back then. Sugar, gold.
And coffee later on, right.
Yeah, huge amounts of coffee. But here's where Rio's story gets really unique, I think.
Go on.
1808. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
The entire Portuguese royal family, they're fleeing Napoleon's armies in Europe.
Okay.
So they get on ships, sail across the Atlantic, and move the entire capital of the Portuguese Empire to Rio de Janeiro.
Wait, seriously, the capital of Portugal was in Brazil?
For over a decade, yeah. It completely changed the city's trajectory.
I bet. What did that actually mean on the ground, apart from like a sudden influx of nobility?
Well, it was transformative. That period, which lasted until Brazil became independent in 1822, it really cemented Rio's status. It wasn't just some colonial outpost anymore. It was an imperial capital.
Wow.
And you saw it immediately. Magnificent buildings went up. Royal institutions were established. You can still see that legacy today, clear as day, in places like the Teatro Municipal or the Palacio Imperial.
So it gave the city this kind of cultural weight.
Exactly, a sense of importance that really stuck, making it Brazil's cultural and political center for generations, all born from this moment of European crisis.
That's incredible. And if we look at figures who shaped modern Rio, you see that contrast again between, say, politics and art.
How so?
Well, you've got someone like Joaquim Nabuco in the late 19th century. He was a major political figure, a leading voice in the fight to abolish slavery, a real freedom fighter.
Okay, a very serious political weight there.
Right. And then you contrast that with the kind of cultural freedom embodied by someone like Antonio Carlos Jobim.
Ah, the bossa nova king.
Exactly. The musician who basically put the sound of Rio, that cool, smooth bossa nova and jazz, onto the world stage.
So you've got this constant balancing act in Rio, tradition and modernity, politics and art.
Yeah, and you see it play out in things like how carnival is organized or even how the favelas developed so rapidly, almost outside the formal structure.
It's always a mix.
Okay, let's talk culture more broadly. Rio is just electric. You have to start with the landmarks, the things that dominate the skyline.
Number one has to be Cristo Redentor, right? Christ the Redeemer.
Absolutely. That huge Art Deco statue watching over the city from Corcovado Mountain, it feels like a protector.
It really does. And if the Redeemer is about faith and history, then maybe Sugarloaf Mountain, the Pão de Açúcar, is about perspective.
Ooh, I like that. Explain.
Well, you go up there and you get those absolutely stunning panoramic views over Guanabara Bay and the whole city layout. It helps you grasp the sheer scale of it all.
Good point. But it's not just about the old icons. The sources mention newer cultural spots, too.
Like the Museu do Amanhã, the Museum of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that one. That incredibly futuristic building down by the port. It's all about looking forward, right next to the historic harbor. Again, that contrast.
But culture in Rio isn't just inside buildings, is it?
Not at all. The streets are alive. You see samba everywhere. You see capoeira, that amazing blend of martial art and dance.
Especially during Carnival.
Oh, Carnival. That's a whole other level. The samba schools, the parades. The costumes alone are unbelievable works of art.
And the preparation, the community effort that goes into it, it's immense. Months and months of work.
That energy, does it spill over into the food scene?
I'd say so.
Right.
Rio's food is this fantastic deep dive into Brazilian flavors. And you absolutely have to talk about feijoada.
The national dish, right? Black bean stew?
That's one. It's traditionally eaten on Saturdays, this incredibly rich, hearty stew with black beans and various kinds of meat. It's essential.
Okay, feijoada. What else?
Churrasco, obviously.
Oh.
Brazilian barbecue, you find amazing churrascarias all over the city. And then all the tropical fruits, acai, maracuja, passion fruit. The flavors are so vibrant.
Making me hungry. And you mentioned atmosphere. There's that anecdote about New Year's Eve on Copacabana.
Oh, yeah, that's something special. Millions of people, literally millions, gathering on the beach.
All wearing white.
Traditionally, yes, for peace and good luck. Watching the fireworks over the ocean. It's supposed to be magical, a real collective experience.
Sounds incredible. So if that's the cultural vibe, what's daily life like? What does it sound like?
Well, the language is Portuguese, of course. But it's Brazilian Portuguese with its own distinct rhythm. Very musical, very expressive. You can almost hear the samba in the way people talk sometimes.
Interesting. And spiritually, what's the landscape there?
Catholicism is dominant, historically speaking. You see churches everywhere. But it's really important to understand the influence of Afro-Brazilian traditions, too.
Like candomblé.
Exactly. Candomblé is a big one. It's a religion that blends African spiritual beliefs with elements of Catholicism. It deeply shapes the city's spiritual life, its rituals, its identity. It makes Rio very spiritually diverse.
That deep feeling, does it connect to sport, too? I hear football is kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. That's an understatement. Football, soccer, to Americans, is practically a religion there.
Really?
Seriously. Clubs like Flamengo and Fluminense, the passion they inspire is just off the charts. Derby days are incredibly intense.
Wow. So intense football fandom. But what about everyday activity?
Well, that's where the beaches come in again. They act like this giant communal backyard. You see people playing beach volleyball, constantly running, surfing. It's a much calmer, more everyday kind of physical activity.
So it's a balance, the crazy energy of the football stadium versus the chill vibe on the sand.
Yeah, I think that captures it well. Daily life kind of swings between that intense, pulsating city center energy and these moments of calm you find by the sea or up in the green hills.
Okay, let's connect that pulse to the economy. Rio's a major player.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge economic hub for Brazil, especially oil and gas.
Petrobras is based there, isn't it?
Yeah.
A state oil company.
That's right. Headquartered right in Rio. Finance is also massive, and obviously tourism is a huge pillar of the economy.
Makes sense. And all this relies on some serious infrastructure.
It does. You've got the Port of Rio de Janeiro, one of Brazil's busiest, and Galeão Airport connecting the city globally.
But getting around the city itself, I hear that can be tricky.
Yeah, that's where the geography bites back again. The topography, all those hills, and the way the city is laid out, plus the sheer number of people, it often leads to really bad traffic congestion.
So you've got buses, subways?
Right. Buses, a decent subway system, even cable cars like the famous one up to Sugarloaf. But moving millions of people around those hills every day is a constant challenge.
Which brings us back to that contrast again, doesn't it? This huge, formal global economy operating within these challenging physical constraints. How does that work for everyone?
Well, that's where the favelas and the informal economy become so critical. It's fascinating, really. In many of these communities, you see the development of these partially independent economies, almost self-sufficient in some ways.
Like local shops and services just within the favela?
Exactly. Internal commerce, local services, sometimes parallel markets operating right alongside the big formal businesses downtown. It's this incredibly complex, decentralized system.
So the informal economy isn't just separate, it actually supports the whole system.
In many ways, yes. It underpins the daily lives of millions and interacts with the formal economy in really complex ways. Studying Rio's economy means studying both sides. You just can't separate them.
Got it. Okay, quickly on governance. How is the city run?
Pretty standard structure, actually. You've got a mayor and a city council. They handle the local stuff, infrastructure, city laws, that kind of thing.
And we should remember its political history, too. It was the capital of Brazil for a long time.
Absolutely. Until 1960, when they built Brasilia specifically for that purpose.
Right.
But that history means Rio still has significant clout, deep international connections, partner cities all over the world, London, Lisbon, Shanghai.
Right. Now, let's zoom back out to the big picture, the environment, because you can't talk about Rio without talking about nature.
Impossible.
Excellent.
It's defined by it. That mix of tropical splendor, mountains, beaches, the bay, the vegetation. It's just stunning and unavoidable.
And the climate.
Tropical. So generally hot and humid. You get distinct rainy seasons, usually in the summer months. You definitely feel the weather there.
What really stands out, though, is the Tijuca National Park.
Isn't that incredible? It's often called the world's largest urban rainforest.
A rainforest inside the city limits.
Smack bang in the middle of this massive metro area. Think about that. It's absolutely vital for the city's air quality, water, everything. Plus, it's an amazing resource for people hiking trails, waterfalls, incredible wildlife.
It provides that green lung, that balance to the concrete jungle.
Precisely. And then, of course, the beaches, Ipanema, Copacabana, they aren't just tourist spots. They're essential social spaces for cariocas, the locals.
Yeah.
They're where the urban and natural worlds just blend together.
Okay, as we start to wrap this up, let's hit some fun facts, some curiosities. Rio seems like a place with a lot of stories.
Oh, definitely. It's steeped in folklore. Legends about pirates hiding out in the bay, stories about colonial heroes, even mystical tales about things appearing on the mountainsides.
And the scale of celebrations you mentioned, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, they hold records for things like the world's largest New Year's party and the sheer scale and artistry of the carnival parades. It just reflects this larger-than-life spirit, this real joy and spectacle.
Pop culture lugs Rio too, doesn't it?
Completely. Filmmakers adore it. Those iconic backdrops, Sugarloaf, Christ the Redeemer, the beaches, they're instantly recognizable in movies, TV shows, music videos all the time.
Any other little magical details?
Well, the sources mention things like city festivals, centered around particular statues, almost like local saints, and these mysterious old baobab trees you can apparently find in some older gardens, hinting at deeper histories.
Interesting.
It's all part of that fabric. Ultimately, I think Rio de Janeiro is just defined by these incredible contrasts, isn't it? This constant push and pull between history and the future, breathtaking nature and intense human life, formality and informality.
A city that really celebrates life in all its messy, beautiful, paradoxical ways. From the favelas climbing the hillsides to the views from Sugarloaf.
Yeah. And maybe a final thought for you to ponder. Think about that legacy of being the temporary Portuguese imperial capital. How does that historical moment hundreds of years ago still echo today? You can still kind of feel it, I think, in the city's architecture, its sense of cultural importance, and maybe even in that ongoing struggle to balance its formal, almost European-style aspirations with its irrepressible, informal, uniquely Brazilian energy. It never truly left.
That's a great point to reflect on. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I really appreciate your comments and subscriptions to this channel. It helps us a lot. Be sure to tell your friends about this podcast and share it on the social media platforms you use. Thanks, and see you next time.